Building your net worth using real estate. Hi, I'm Phil Pustiowski. I'm a full-time real estate investor, real estate mentor and coach to many of the most successful real estate investors in North America. And in this video, what I'm going to share with you is why real estate is such an ideal investment vehicle for building your net worth. We're going to talk about what net worth is, why it's important to you, why real estate is so great at building that, in everything in between, hopefully, in a very short video. Okay, so first, what is net worth? Net worth is your balance sheet, how much assets you own. And there's a great book that I recommend in other videos called The Millionaire Mind by Thomas J. Stanley. And he talks about BAs, or balance sheet affluent people. And so the balance sheet, net worth, that is going to be your assets. And real estate is an ideal investment for building your net worth, no matter where you're starting from or where you are right now. When I say ideal, I mean ideal. So we're going to break this down. I-D-E-A-L. So specifically using real estate for building a net worth, that means that you are going to be buying and owning the property for at least a year. Okay? And ideally, and we'll talk about this throughout this acronym here, you're going to be bringing in income because you're going to be renting it out while you own the property. Is it possible to buy raw land or to buy a piece of property and just flat sit on it? Yes, but that's typically a bad idea, because when it comes to building your net worth, what I'm going to be talking about throughout this entire video is, and hopefully you can see it at the bottom, I'm drawing feet at the bottom of this little house. You want all of your investments to stand on their own 2 feet. So you want the property to consistently be able to sustain itself. I oftentimes hear where people will buy real estate on, say, a 15-year mortgage so they can pay it off faster, but they're actually losing money. They're not making any income. That's a bad idea. The property has to stand on its own 2 feet. So with real estate that you own and you have it rented out to somebody, you're hopefully bringing in income. Now, I am going to argue that you need to be bringing in good income, or what we call cash flow, or else it's not worth it. It's very easy to buy properties that don't cash flow. There's lots of them out there, or they cash flow very little. But you've got to keep in mind, if this is a house here, this drawing, there's a lot of expenses. Okay, you've got taxes. You may have a mortgage payment, right? And that's probably going to be pretty big. That's going to, so I'm going to just say a loan. But it's not just those. You've got insurance. And then you've also potentially, you may have HOA dues, those sorts of things. You're certainly going to have maintenance. So you've got a lot of expenses that all go against your income, right? But hopefully, at the end of all these expenses, there's still a little bit of green at the top. You're still bringing in some money, because you also want to save not only for the maintenance, but the catastrophes, things that could go wrong. So what's beautiful as we go from I to D here is that you get to take depreciation on that income. What's depreciation? Depreciation is that this is, by the way, this is United States tax law right here. The IRS says that a single-family home can be depreciated over 27.5 years. That means that the structure, not the land, but the structure is deteriorating at an even amount over 27.5 years. Now, we know that most houses, if maintained correctly, will last well longer than 27.5 years. But the beauty of that is it allows you to have a phantom expense. You're not actually paying it out of pocket, but there's an expense that goes against your income, which means that the income is tax advantaged. Okay? Now, again, I'm going to suggest that for net worth purposes, the goal is not going to be money today. The goal is going to be building a net worth, or what you look like on paper. So depreciation is a nice thing that you can take against that income. The next thing is equity. Hopefully you're buying your properties wisely so that when you buy the property when you first begin, maybe you're paying $150,000, but it's actually worth $180,000. That happens a lot. I mean, you can find great deals. I got lots of other videos that talk about that kind of stuff. So you can walk into instant equity as soon as you purchase. I'm going to give you an example that's quite a bit different. What would be stocks. When you buy publicly traded company, pieces of publicly traded companies, also known as stocks, they're called equities as well. Typically, you're buying the stock at whatever the market price is. So unless you have an inside track, such as you have stock options, but if you're buying the stock at the market price, you're not instantly walking into equity. Now, you may know something that other people don't know, some new thing that's coming out in the company, and so the market was not pricing it correctly. But in most cases, stock markets price the equities of the publicly traded companies correctly. So with real estate, though, you can buy properties with instant equity. So that's so wonderful. So if the goal is to build net worth, boom, you've already started to build your net worth. Just for the fact you had instant equity. Appreciation. Got to be careful here because over the long haul, single-family homes specifically as an asset class do not appreciate. They usually just keep pace with inflation. Studies have proven that. But properties can appreciate. They can go up in value. But here's the thing. I mean, they're not going to appreciate the way, say, a stock would. But let's just say it did appreciate by 2-3%. Hold on with me here as I go to the fifth one here on the L in ideal, and that is leverage. Here's where things get real cool. See, in real estate, you don't have to have the entire amount of cash to purchase the property. You only need $150,000 in the example I brought up earlier. What if you just put 10% down or 20% down? Well, now all of a sudden you're leveraging borrowed money to, let's say, put $10,000 into a property that's, say, worth $100,000. So we'll do that here. So we're going to say that the value is $100K. Okay, that's the value. But if you're only putting $10K into it, that's how much you got into it. The other $90K is coming from somebody else. But watch, you're controlling a $100K property with $10K. Well, if it appreciates at 3%, then that means in the first, after year one, it's worth $103. Well, that's a $3,000 difference when you only put up $10K. So what percentage gain on your $10K if you got $3,000 more? 30%, right? Pretty cool. So you just grew if the property just appreciated by 3%, you just grew your net worth from 10K up to 13K here, or a 30% jump. Now, let's say, for example, the house was actually worth, 120. Well, then you would have, bit off or added an extra 20K in instant equity there. And so, as you can see, I hope I haven't confused you. This thing is just tailor-made for building your net worth. I mean, this equation is just beautiful. So what are the pitfalls? I'm glad you asked. So for all this wonderful benefit, we're going to go back to the pitfall of pitfalls, and I already brought it up, and it's this right here. It's income. It's got to bring in money and stand on its own 2 feet. I'll get these feet down here. It's got to. Because if the property does not cash flow, you have a real problem on your hands. You have to bring money from somewhere else, which that's an issue because the whole point of net worth is to grow your wealth and not to be 5 years down the road and look good on paper, but be so cash poor you can't even feed yourself. Look, I have made the mistake of owning real estate unwisely, and 5 years later looking back going, what a waste of my time. Because real estate, especially when you own rental property, whether it's a duplex, triplex, quad, apartment building, single family home, there is work involved. So what are some of the drawbacks of this thing? Well, then we talked about the fact that it can't take money out of your pocket. It's got to always cash flow positive. Okay, it's got to cash flow positive. That's the first thing. But number two, it's going to require management. Even if you hire a manager, you gotta manage the managers. I got a great video on what every real estate investor needs to know about property management. So if it's going to require management, that requires some of your time. If it's going to require some of your time, it needs to make some darn money. Does that make sense? So as long as the property cash flows strong, and that's in, you have to be prepared for disasters. Disasters. This stuff happens in the real world, y'all. When disasters occur, hurricanes, floods, and all those others, you better have made, paid the right amount of insurance, and you better have things in gear financially, have a vault, a fortress of extra money to be able to handle when problems occur. Disasters may also be evictions. It might be just problems that occur on the property that busted water heater, hot water heater. So the key here is it all boils right back down to this thing called cash flow. So long as the only properties that you purchase for long-term holds to build your net worth cash flow strong, all will be good. And it's not about how many doors you own. It's not about how many properties you own. It's how productive and how profitable and how net worth growing the properties you don't own are. So this is not a contest of the number of properties to own. I mean, I went through that phase in my investing career early on where I had 25 properties. Oh yeah. That's not fancy. And it's certainly not cool. What's cool is if you just own one or two that you own free and clear that were cash flowing like a freight train, as opposed to 25 that are encumbered to the hilt, right? So the key here is it's not about how many you own. It's about the ones you do own cash flowing extremely positive. One of the hard money lenders that I've worked with over the years, his attitude has always been that you flip. I mean, for the most part, single family homes you flip. Now you flip 3, and then you hold 1. Like that's kind of his. That's been his ratio. So in other words, the majority of deals, he always believes that you just flip most of them. But ever so often, a good one comes along that cash flows very well that you hold on to. So if you are a full-time investor watching this video, what you may end up doing is you flip, and then hold a winner. Flip, or flip, hold a winner, 2 more flips. So that it's slow and steady, right? That you're building that net worth along with flipping some of the deals. But for some of you that are maybe part-time and you have no interest in flipping houses, you just want to own properties long-term, what that means is you have to kiss a lot of frogs. Let me write that down. That was a phrase that my mentor used to always say. Kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince. So if you are going to be a part-time investor and you just want to build your net worth one property at a time, you have no interest in flipping, you need to look at a lot of deals to see which one's cash flow. And if you spend some time, energy, and money on generating or marketing for the best deals, that's also a great way to do it. That way you can go direct to the sellers and work out the best deals. Now, the next step in a video like this, I want to encourage you to watch a video that I just put together called How to Turn a Little into a Lot. How to turn a little into a lot. So this video introduced you to the net worth properties and principles of real estate investing. But this video right here, this one right here gives you the practical knowledge, and there's actually 2 parts of exactly how you do that. Like if you got $30,000 saved up, you got $10,000, you got $500,000 saved up. How do you invest that in real estate most wisely to build either your net worth or do what it is you want to do? Well, that's what this video will clarify. So check that out after watching this one. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Phil Pustiowski with freedommentor.com. And again, real estate investing, real estate as an investment vehicle is ideal for building your net worth. But building your net worth, you have to be careful. And I talked about it, I hit it so hard in this video about making sure things cash flow, stand on their own 2 feet. And I also want to say this as well. If your goal is a net worth building, that's where you want to go, then you probably can't have your cake and eat it too. Meaning, along the way, if you suck out all the income from the property as opposed to reinvest in it, maybe let's say, for example, you've got a quad. And so as the cash flow comes in, let's say when a property goes vacant, let's say you took all the cash flow that you had saved up and then you redid the kitchen, redid the bathrooms before you re-rented it. So now you could rent it for more money than before. So if you can hold on to, if you can use whatever extra cash flow you've created from that investment and plow it right back in, that's going to grow your net worth even more. A perfect example of that, not in real estate, but just in life, would be Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, known as one of the most successful investors in world history, he has always kept a really small salary. I mean, really small salary. It's not until recently that his salary went from over $100,000 to now it's like $400,000. But most of that money goes to pay for security guards. Not kidding. You can read about it in his investor letters that he sends out once a year to his to people that own Berkshire Hathaway. So he had the goal of building his net worth, which meant that he had delayed gratification. And so if you really want to build your net worth with real estate, then you have to have delayed gratification with the properties that you own. And that is taking that income and plowing it back into the property. Saving up the money, and then maybe you put in a new roof, you repaint, you do the things to not only maintain but improve the property, which allows you to increase the rents, but also allows you to hold on to that asset longer and for it to be a better and better asset for you years and years down the road. All right, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or whatnot, right below here, there's comment boxes down there. I try to answer questions and carve out some time for that. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to learn more about me, head over to our website, freedommentor.com, or watch some more of these videos. We've got a ton of them out there, and a lot of people really like what I've been sharing. So check out some other videos too. Thanks for watching.